All right, so real quick, let me walk you through getting set up here. I'll show you how to do all this firsthand here, but for the summary, we're going to install Anaconda, which is a Python environment made for scientific computing and data science and machine learning. Once we have that set up, we'll install a package called py.plus, which we'll use later on in the course for visualizing decision trees, and we'll also install TensorFlow, which we're going to use to build neural networks and real AI and deep learning later on in the course. We'll also download the course materials from my website here, and open up one of the notebooks from that materials and see if it works. So let's dive in. All right, let's get things set up on Linux. I'm running an Ubuntu host here. And the first thing we need to do is install Anaconda. Anaconda is a Python environment made for scientific computing. It contains libraries needed for data science and machine learning. So it will save you a lot of trouble in installing packages by using this instead of just, a generic Python installation. And Thought Canopy can also work if you've got that. But Anaconda is what I'm using in this course for now. So head over to anaconda.com if you don't have it and find the download button. And hit download again. And select your operating system. We are on Linux. And you want the Python 3 version, 3 point whatever it is. The code in this course is for Python 3, not Python 2. I'm on an x86 system, so I will go ahead and install the x86 installer. You can see it's large. We'll download that to my home directory in the download folder automatically, and we'll just wait for that to come down. Once that's done downloading, we can minimize our browser and open up a terminal. We'll cd into our downloads folder, and we need to make that shell script executable. Thusly, changement age plus x, Anaconda 3, whatever it is. And now we should be able to run that installer script. Press enter to look at the license agreement, space as you read it, and assuming you agree to the terms, type in yes. That home directory location is fine by me. We'll hit enter, and off it goes. There is a lot for it to install, so we'll come back when it's done. All right, it's almost done installing. It wants to know if we want to initialize Anaconda. I'm not sure why you would say no, so let's type in yes. And we're ready to go. So Anaconda is installed at this point. That's awesome. Now, some environment variables were changed here, so to make sure we pick them up, I'm going to close out of this terminal and bring up a new one. Now, there are a couple of packages that we need to install that did not come with the default installation. One is py.plus. We'll use that to visualize decision trees later in the course. To install that, just type in conda install py.plus, just like that. And you're going to see a lot of warnings in general when you run code and operate with the Anaconda environment. Usually they're just talking about things that are being deprecated in the future, and it's safe to ignore those. So don't freak out about the warning messages, guys. There's going to be a lot of them, and they are almost always safe to ignore. If it's an error, that's a different story, but don't sweat the warnings. All right, we'll hit Y to proceed. And that was quick. Now we also need to install TensorFlow. TensorFlow is a package used for building deep learning neural networks, and we'll be playing with that later in the course as well. To install that, you just say conda install TensorFlow. And if you're on a system that has an NVIDIA GPU, you can accelerate things by actually installing TensorFlow-GPU instead. But if you're not sure, just stick with TensorFlow. As I'm running in a little virtual environment here, I don't have a lot of confidence that TensorFlow GPU will actually work, so I'm going to stick with just plain TensorFlow. And that will go off and do its thing as well. And again, Y to proceed. All right, and at this point, Anaconda is installed with everything we need for this course. Let's go ahead and clear out this screen. And let's head back to our browser, and we'll get the course materials next. Now, to get those, you're going to head over to https://sundog-education.com/machine-learning. Pay attention to spelling, capitalization, the dashes, everything is important. And you should see a page that looks like this. All right, so you'll see a big friendly link here for the course materials. This contains all of the Python notebook files that we're going to use throughout the course. Go ahead and click that to download it. And we'll go ahead and save that. And if you want the slides, there's a copy of it here as well. There's also a Facebook group for the course that you can join as well. That is just made for students to collaborate with each other. I'm actually not on Facebook myself, guys, but it's a good place for you guys to trade notes and learn from each other as well. There's also the installation steps that we're just walking through here for your own reference later on. And if you want to join our mailing list or get the book version of this course, there's links for that as well. Obviously, you don't have to. All right, now that course material is in place, let's go ahead and close out of the browser here. And back to our terminal. Let's go to our downloads folder again. And let's unzip that mlcourse.zip file. All right, so we just need to remember where this is. So let's go into mlcourse. And so it's under downloads mlcourse. You can move that someplace else if you want to. The important thing is just that you remember where it is and how to get there. All right, so let me show you how to actually run these things. So this is a collection of Jupyter notebook files is what they're called. They're ways of interactively running Python code within a web browser. And this also includes all of the sample data that we need for the course to actually train our models and actually do machine learning. But in order to actually run them, we need to actually start what's called Jupyter Notebook from within this directory. So remember, whenever we actually start a notebook within this course, what you need to do first is open up a terminal window, cd into the directory where you install these course materials. Okay, for us, that's going to be our home directory under downloads and then ML course. And once you're in that directory, type in Jupyter with a Y, notebook, just like that. It's important that you start this from the correct directory. Once we do that, we should have a browser pop up. And there it is. So that's cool. Now we can see the list of notebook files that we have for this course here. We just need to select the one that we want. So whenever I say to open up a specific notebook file in the course, just look for it here. Let's open up outliers.ipynb. That's an interesting one. Cool. So you can see that we have all this inline Python code that we can actually run interactively and actually see the output as we run it within our little web browser. It's kind of cool. And this isn't just a pre-made web page, guys. This is actually an environment where you can actually run and modify code. So, for example, I can click in this little block here. What it's actually doing is creating a random distribution of people's incomes and then throwing in Jeff Bezos as an outlier with $1 billion. But I can just click on that and hit this run button, and that will actually execute that code and produce this graph in response. Pretty cool. And the rest of this, we'll talk through this later when we actually get to this lesson, but basically we talk about how to remove Jeff Bezos as an outlier and get more meaningful visualizations of the data for normal people here. So important activity there. But anyway, yeah, it seems to be working. So if you got this far, everything is set up properly. Congratulations, and we can move forward. Again, remember how to go about opening these notebook files. You want to open up a terminal, cd to the directory that you installed the course materials into, and then type in Jupyter Notebook. And remember, Jupyter is spelled funny, Jupyter, and that should bring you to where you need to be. All right, guys, let's move on. Hey, Frank Kane here from the Sundog Education Course Recording Studio. Now, depending on what platform you're watching this course on, you might be prompted for a review of it right after this lecture or maybe the next one. And I hope you're enjoying it so far, but if you need more time to really form an opinion, there should be a little Ask Me Later button on there too. So if you're not sure about this course yet and you want to give it some more time, feel free to hit that, and they'll prompt you for a review later on in the course where you'll have more of it under your belt to form an opinion with. Really important to me that you leave an honest and well-informed review of this course because reviews are really critical to instructors like me who make their livelihood off of this stuff. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, and let's just keep on going.